Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome on this new video on Remnant From The Ashes. Today we're gonna talk about the Alternator, which is a boss weapon in the new DLC, Subject 2923. Let's go. Here we are back in World 13, and this one before you is the Alternator. Now this gun is very cool. It starts from the concept of using both ice and fire when fighting, when using it, and it does achieve that by shooting ice projectiles with its regular attack and then using a fire attack as a special mod. The mod is called Incinerator and it spews 11 fireballs that deals 33 fire damage within 2 meters each and ignites the enemies with the burning effect, dealing 220 fire damage in the course of 10 seconds. Overall, sounds to be an interesting mod. Of course, everything depends on how you use it. Despite dealing frost damage when you're shooting in normal mode, the gun itself does not build up the frostbite effect, but that is quite understandable, it would be too OP otherwise. Instead, when you change into the actual mods, you will be applying the burning effect, but you're limited with only one shot before having to recharge the mod, which is again a good trade, it's quite understandable. The Alternator is essentially an assault rifle. Comparing the two directly, you can immediately see that they have almost the same statistics at the same level, +6 of a boss weapon being the same of +12 for a regular weapon. The Alternator deals roughly 2 less points of damage than the assault rifle, but it does have an higher rate of fire while they're both sharing the same ammo capacity, so overall they're very similar. The design of the weapon, it's cool, it's just plain cool, there's nothing to say there. I really like the idea of like the 2 cores that are attached to the gun. The first core sitting right before the bullet chamber of the rifle that turns all the ammo into frost projectiles, while the second core is right under the gun discharging the big boom of flames. It's really cool. It also have this great frost effect at the tip of the gun when you're shooting the regular shots, and if you use the mod it will change into a blazing effect, and I personally like this a lot. I like the level of attention to details, especially when it comes to weapon designs. It helps giving you a more realistic feeling, despite this being something that I really doubt would be technologically doable, even from a sci-fi point of view, like of pure fiction, like it would be, I think, not doable. I also love that when you activate the mod, the long barrel retracts inside the gun in order to change from like singular projectile to a rows of fire bullets. I really love when weapons change visually like that, and like Remnant is great in doing these kind of things. So far I'm enjoying this weapon a lot, I've used it a lot. The mod does also a good job of making it feel powerful when dealing with large targets like bosses or more commonly the elite enemies, because if every single fireball hits the target it deals a massive amount of damage. Because of that, it's of course not good to deal with small enemies. However, this is not a big deal because you will use just your regular shots against them. So it synergizes pretty well the idea of having you to switching between the 2 fire modes. It's a good weapon. It has a good rate of fire. The damage is just a bit lower than the assault rifle, which is one of the strongest weapons in the entire game. And the mod, when used correctly, gives you a lot of satisfaction. The only problem with this weapon so far, for what I could experience, is that the single projectile are much slower than a regular bullet. So it's great to be used in short and mid-range due to the high fire rate, but because of the slowness of the single projectiles, you can potentially miss when you're shooting at long range, not because it's not accurate, but because by the time the shot reaches the enemy, they might have moved from their original position. You can get this weapon by defeating one of the new world bosses of the DLC. It's actually 2 bosses in one. It's a boss duo. They are Varg the Warg and Budvak the Rider. This is gonna be a 2-phase boss fight. In the first phase you will fight them together, and depending on who you kill first, the remaining one will get mad at you for killing their friends, unlocking phase 2 when they regain all their HP and fight you with a all new set of moves. In order to get the Alternator from this boss, you will have to defeat the Rider first, so Budvak the Rider has to be the one to go first. And then face the beautiful horse rat in the second phase of the boss fight. As usual, at the end you will be rewarded with an item, in this case being called the Cold Cell, and by bringing that to McCabe in War 13 she will be able to forge you the weapon. And that's it. This boss in particular was not too difficult. I beat them on my first try. I was lucky because a couple of times I was close to die, but in the end I managed. And on this character I don't even have my HP maxed out, so it should be pretty easy for you. I was fighting them in hard mode, and again, it wasn't too bad. But that was it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you did, leave a like down below if you liked the video, if it was helpful. And as always, I'll see you all in the next video. Ocan's out.